I've worked in emergency medicine for 12 years. I've seen overdoses, gunshots, psychotic breaks. I thought I'd seen everything. Until the night we brought in a patient marked Code Red Internal. The ER nurse went pale when she read the intake form. She didn't say a word, just pressed the red button under the desk. Within 60 seconds, two men in lead aprons and surgical masks wheeled in a sealed bed and took him. Not to trauma, not to psych, but to a wing I'd never noticed before. It didn't have a name, just a sign in faded red, room 7117, no entry without clearance. I asked where he was going. The nurse looked me in the eyes and whispered, "Don't ask questions, it logs the voice." That's the night I learned about the Red Room, and why most hospital workers pretend it doesn't exist. Every hospital has a space that doesn't appear on the public map. Sometimes it's labeled diagnostics overflow, sometimes research intake, sometimes it's just a locked hallway behind psych. But it's real. And the people who go in don't always come out the same. The staff that works there don't wear standard scrubs. They don't carry pagers. They don't say stat. They just appear like they've always been watching. When I asked a veteran nurse what it was for, she said, "It's where we send the patients who don't match any known protocol." I laughed. She didn't. The official chart code is CRR. No one admits what it stands for. Some say Critical Response Resource. Others whisper Containment and Reset Room. Patients sent there are flagged in red, not for danger, but for non-conformity. One guy arrived with vitals that fluctuated every 10 seconds. BP, heart rate, glucose, all resetting like a loop. Another came in blindfolded, gagged, wrists zip-tied, transferred from a military base with no name. I saw a woman escorted in who looked perfectly healthy until she stepped past the threshold. Then her nose started bleeding, and she said, "He's inside already." Nobody asked who, because everyone pretended they didn't hear. My first time entering the Red Room wasn't scheduled. A cardiac arrest came in, male, early 30s, stable on transport, then suddenly flatlined in the hallway. The trauma bays were full. The charge nurse snapped, "770 now." I pushed the gurney down the hallway. It got colder as we moved. The lights, not fluorescent, red-tinted, low frequency, like emergency lighting but permanent. When we entered, the walls weren't white. They were the color of dried blood. No beeping, no monitors, just a single chair in the corner and a vertical light that hummed. They told me to leave, but I lingered. Watched as two staff wheeled the patient into the center and injected something thick and silver. No defib, no CPR, no alarms. He twitched, then sat up, eyes open, but they weren't his eyes. He looked around, smiled, and said, "This body's better." I ran, didn't sign the transfer form, didn't clock out. But 3 hours later, I got a text. "You did well, clearance updated." Things changed after that. I was added to new group chats, got invitations to supplemental shifts. My badge opened new doors. One night, I asked the night supervisor what exactly was going on. She didn't answer, just turned her screen toward me. On it, rows of patient codes, all marked R red. No names, just timestamps. And next to each, a number labeled stability window. The lowest I saw was 4 minutes, the highest 13 years. When I asked what it meant, she whispered, "How long it lasts before it starts asking questions." I thought she meant a psychiatric metric. Then I met patient Delta. She was 10, nonverbal, but every 12 hours she would tap her IV stand in Morse code. Always the same message. "Let me back through. This one is too small." I wasn't supposed to see that. After I mentioned it to a nurse, I found a new badge in my locker. No name, just a red strip on the edge. I used it. The next wing was worse. Rooms with full blackout curtains, beds suspended midair by wire frames, monitors tracking patterns I couldn't interpret, waves that pulsed too slow to be heartbeats. There was a file on the desk labeled "Recall Units Dormant." Inside, photos of patients who weren't patients. One was the cardiac arrest I brought in that night, smiling. Same body, but dated 1996. That's when I realized they're not healing people in room 717. They're holding them. I stopped asking questions, but questions kept finding me. One night, a janitor found me in the break room, sat across from me, dead serious, said, "You brought one back, didn't you?" I froze. He nodded. "I used to work the Red Room too, until I saw one of them look through me." I tried to laugh. He didn't. He just said, "They're not patients. They're containers, and sometimes where they crack." That night, my badge stopped working, but not everywhere. only on the main floors. Basement still let me through. So now I sit with my coffee, watch new paramedics push in stretchers, and wait to see if any of them will be sent to 717. I want to warn them, but I won't. Because the ones who ask questions don't get fired, they get transferred. If you ever wake up in a hospital and the lights feel too dim, if no one answers when you ask where you are, if your wristband says CRR and the nurses speak in code, you're not in a hospital anymore. You're in containment. And the worst part, you're probably not even sick. You're just different, untrackable, unstable, unexplained. And this system doesn't diagnose, it absorbs. If this story made something shift inside you, like this video, subscribe, because the stories they silence, we record. Watch our previous story, What Happened After a Secret Shopper Disobeyed the Rules, because sometimes just asking the wrong question is enough to be flagged.